Good afternoon, LaTasha Rowe. How are you?
I'm good, Shawn. How are you? I was bopping to the music.
I was going to ask you that. I couldn't really see you when it was coming through, and so I was going to ask you if you were bobbing your head because the last few people I hadn't noticed it before on most of the streams, but the last few people that I had on, I've been catching them, nodding their heads.
Yeah, I mean, you have a theme song. NFM, we need to get it together.
You guys are just fine. Y'all got a whole TV show. It looks like CNN or whatever, like a network situation going on. What's his name? Greg Scherer, right?
Yes, Greg Scherer. Yes, he is our director of business development, and he runs NFM TV. So we actually received a Telly Award last year for one of his segments.
Are you serious? Wow, that's good.
Yes.
So listen, before we get started, you guys did a great job at promoting this today. I saw so many people were sharing it and liking and commenting on the post. So I'm obviously excited to talk to you. We've known each other sort of indirectly for some years, and then we got a chance to get to know each other over the past few years. So it's just it's awesome to get a chance to speak with you. But before I get started, I want to try a quick story. So so today, we're talking about finding access to credit and mortgages, and we're talking about equal housing and lending, right? And sustainable home ownership. So one of the things that I was thinking about is a story that a business leader had told me once, and there was this politician that wanted him to get his following right and get his community to assist with the voting and pull that in on his side. So he said, yeah, we were in the conference room and my team, and I typically go off the cuff and I just kind of say anything. So what I told the gentleman is I was like, so you want me to vote? No problem. You sound like you got great policies, and we could rally around you, but I want you to think about this. So I'm gonna paint a picture for you. So LaTasha, just imagine you coming to my house for a party, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get you to vote for me or just support me. And you come to my house and you park your car and you walk up to the door, you ring the doorbell, and I greet you at the door. And I'm just like, all right, hey, LaTasha, welcome. Let me get your coat. Or actually, I don't even get your coat. I tell you to go put your coat over in the wherever we're keeping the coats and whatnot.
Yeah, strike one.
Then I leave. I'm like, all right, this is where the drinks are, this is where the food is, get to know some people that's here, so forth and so on. And so you're there with your guest, and I just kind of leave you all to yourself, and you got to kind of fend for yourself. Well, get this. What kind of party, how cool would it be if you came to my house? Maybe I had someone park your car, or at least if you parked the car, I was peeping out of the window, I had someone come out and greet you. When you came to the door, how would it feel like if I was like, hey, LaTasha, it's great to see you. It's awesome. Let me take your coat. Let me introduce you to my wife, and introduce you all. And, hey, let me take you over. You want a drink? Are you thirsty? You want something to eat? Let me take you over and show you where it is. And, I just show you that hospitality, right?
Right.
Oh, by the way, while we're at it, let me introduce you to a couple people that I know. I think you would, really hit it off with them. I know you just got here and everything, but I want you to feel good about it. So now, what's the difference in those two parties?
Yeah, that's huge. And I love where you're going with the story. And the difference in those two is, in one scenario, I feel welcome. Right. I feel included. I feel like I have someone who is the owner of the home, who is actually showing me around, so it's not foreign. In the first scenario, I feel like I'm navigating on my own. I got to find the closet. I got to find drinks. I have to introduce myself to other individuals that I don't know their background or anything. And I'm probably not going to come back to your house.
Right. But aren't there a lot of, in our industry, have you seen this happen, like where a homeowner comes into the industry to purchase a home, right? There's no guide there. There's no one there to help them feel special and make them feel included. We still want to take their money, right?
Yep.
We still want to do this loan and do a high five at the end of the day, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, right? And check off that box. But are we being inclusive? Are we helping them instead of just taking their money? Are we making them feel like that they're a part of something?
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I told that story, because it resonated with me, and I knew we would be talking about something like that today. And I'm always struggling at the beginning of each show to find a story to kind of tie into what we're talking about. And so, before I ask you to introduce yourself, I just want to let you know that we call this Lending with Purpose, and I've been doing this over a year now. Missed 2 weeks out of 13, 14 months now, going on 14 months. And Lending with Purpose is just conversations, LaTasha, with clients and friends. Introductions, I apologize, to our various forms of information and professionals like yourself.
Yeah.
Resources that we use, that we look for, that we never knew existed, and then we wanted to learn more about. So that's why we're here. So can you tell us?
Yeah.
Because I can't do that Steve Harvey introduction that well. Like, you're the greatest thing in the world. That's not me. But can you tell us who you are and what you do? And then we'll get into it.
Of course, let's get into it, because it's so much to cover. We might need a part 2 for this, but I am LaTasha Rowe. I am General Counsel and Chief Compliance Officer for NFM Lending, the #1 mortgage lender in Maryland in 2019, according to the Scotsman Guide. So huge accomplishment there, but we're in 41 states. And just like you, Shawn, we are trying to move the needle in inclusion, move the needle in equal access to credit. So that's what I do. I live and breathe it. It is my passion, and I just happen to get paid for it. So that's amazing.
Right.
I'm the mother of 4 beautiful kids. And I'm going to share this story. Shawn, you helped my son buy his first home. And for that, I am so grateful for you. He could have gone to NFM. He certainly could have. But I wanted him to be with someone that I felt that he could be familiar with and would really help him through the process. And so thank you for that.
No, it was a blessing. Like I told you, I learned a great deal from him going through the process as well. And, hope that he took some nuggets away from the process and we made it smooth. We text still, we keep in touch.
Good.
Yeah, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of you. I didn't know you had 4 kids though, but that's amazing, and I'm grateful that we had the opportunity to help them, and your family trusted us enough to do so. So thank you.
Yeah, and the conversation today is about access and what that looks like to any individual from whatever walk of life, from whatever background. And one of the things that you mentioned in your story, which is so important, is not just making that person feel welcome, but knowing that individual. And so in the lending space, a lot of times we assume who an individual is based on a credit score, based on how much money they have or don't have in the bank, and we don't invest the time to understand exactly where that person is financially, what they're looking for, what they can afford. Even more so in the minority community, because a lot of times we don't have that generational wealth. We don't have a history of home ownership in our family. And so as lenders, we have to understand that we don't have to necessarily shut down that area of lending, but we have to understand that consumer base.
Got it. Now it makes a lot of sense. So what does fair and equal lending look and feel like?
Yeah. So again, we touched on it briefly, but fair for sure looks like I am getting the same level of service. I'm getting the same level of products. I'm being charged the same for a loan as anyone else that meets the same credit standards. So regardless of what I look like, regardless of who I am, last name, accent, I'm getting the same level of products and services. And equal really is one and the same, is that when you're looking at my loan file, you're looking at my loan file for what it is, for what the data says, versus, what your biases might tell you about me. And I'm going to tell a story because I'm a storyteller too.
Oh, that's perfect.
So when I bought my home that I'm in now, I got referred to a loan originator. And I'm like, okay, I referred to this person. They had used this individual to buy their home. And they didn't know my background. They didn't know where I worked. They didn't know that I worked for a mortgage company. And my first conversation was, I'm buying a home. And the first thing he said was, oh, we're going to put you in an FHA loan. And I immediately, being in the industry, I said, this guy hasn't pulled my credit. He doesn't know how much I'm putting down. Why automatically do you assume that that's the product you're going to offer to me? And these are the type of stigmas and the type of perceptions that we have to continue to navigate through in the mortgage industry to make sure there is fair and equal access to credit.
Right. That's an awesome story. I can see that happening in many cases. I personally think, like, you know, I'm not the only one that believes this and has this philosophy, because I learned it from somewhere as well. But I think affordability is more important than qualification.
Sure.
Right? And I think needs, like assessing the situation first. So if that person would have, obviously the 1003 at the time of the loan application would have told the whole story. Your credit would have told the whole story. But I still firmly believe, okay, maybe you did fit an FHA mortgage, right?
Right.
In your situation, you didn't, because no one knew, because he didn't even pull your credit, just automatically assumed.
Yes.
Do pull your credit and you fit the FHA, I still should show you a couple more options.
Absolutely.
Even if they're far-fetched. Like, even if they're far-fetched and they don't fit, that way you can make an informed decision and you know exactly what you're getting yourself into.
That's right.
And so
sometimes you want to work towards it. So like, say for example, you're offering a product and they need a little more down payment for a different product that on the long term is going to be more beneficial. You have to give the person the option so they can make an informed decision. If you're not giving them all of the information, they can't make an informed decision.
Right. Yeah. Right. So you're an attorney. So you're trained legally to do whatever attorneys do. Right.
Yeah, whatever it is. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. So whatever it is that the attorneys do. But like, how is that, like, your training and being an attorney shaped like your career, and like, you know, like how's it helped in real estate and finance industry? Number one, like the company perspective, like what you do in compliance in the workforce and such. But like, you know, just reading some recent articles that you've done and been a part of, you know, you kind of talked about generational wealth and how you can take this and help a lot more people based on your training and education.
Yeah.
So explain how that all wraps into what you do now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one of the reasons, and so I fell into real estate like everyone else. I fell into it when I graduated. I wanted to be an employment lawyer, and no problem there. Still working through therapy for that, not bitter at all. But what I learned very quickly when I joined the industry was I could be so helpful to people who look like me, or to people who didn't look like me but needed someone to explain to them in layman's terms what all of these complex mortgage terms mean. And so very quickly I learned my craft, and I started to have my circle of individuals in the conversation. We talk about anything. We talk about hair, nails, things like that. Starting to introduce real estate into the conversation, whether I know the person personally or professionally. And so in my personal life, I have 100,000, you know, friends, associates, connections, things of that nature. Everyone knows what I do, and everyone knows that they want to have a mortgage experience that's stellar, that they can come to me and I can refer them to a salesperson. Because listen, lawyers are salespeople. Like, this is the thing. People think that lawyers are people that interpret the law, but in private practice, you have to sell your services like everybody else. And so for me, it's about selling the idea of home ownership, selling the distinction between paying a landlord's mortgage versus paying your own mortgage and having this investment. At NFM, I've done a couple of things to move the needle. we have rolled out a limited English proficiency program where individuals whose first language is Spanish and prefer to talk in Spanish and have their documents in Spanish, we have those resources for them, because the data showed me at NFM that 25-30% of our consumers identify as Latin American. And we know, if we have interacted or know anything about the Latin American community, is that, you know, there are some cultural differences that we need to address so they can have a great lending experience.
So that's like me walking you over to the table and helping you get a plate of food or fixing you.
Yes, pouring the drink, telling me, you know, what's in the drink, all of those things, right? A lot of women and minorities don't have a person around them who understands what you need to do once you get into the house. I told my son, I said, this is investment property. So don't look at this as your forever home. Don't walk around this space saying, oh, I want to do all these things. Focus on living in this home for now, and then how you can rent this home out and move into a bigger home or a step-up home. And so at NFM, I manage and oversee fair lending, and I am on the diversity and equity committee. And so not just home ownership, but people want to sometimes deal and work with people that look like them too, right? So we want to make sure our employees fit what we are serving in the community. So
there's Donnell.
Hi, son.
He says she sure did. She sure did. Yeah, he's wise beyond his years too as well. He had it going on. So I see. Okay, he was getting the coach from the background.
Yes. And I was looking at the videos with him, but again, everybody doesn't have a LaTasha as their mother or their sister or their cousin, right? But my responsibility as a general counsel and chief compliance officer at NFM is to make sure I depart what I know so that those who are in the front line, our salespeople, are giving that type of experience and understanding that everyone doesn't have an uncle or an aunt that owned a home. And you're going to have some different challenges or opportunities, rather, depending on that person's background.
Right. In what way do you scale that though? Like, so for instance, there's a lot of technology these days, but how do you create the content and distribute and disseminate that information out to the consumers? Like, in what ways are you seeing folks do it, whether it's NFM or just the industry in general? Like, how do we at scale get this education out to people?
This forum is amazing for that, right? So we are in a technology age. We're in an age where everyone is leveraging social media to get some sort of message out. So, and everyone has a cell phone. At least 90% of adults who have a job or whatever have a cell phone. So using technology and leveraging technology to have these conversations and to have your contact information where individuals can provide more resources is critical. And Shawn, you know, just like me, like, this is complex. So you talking about a distinction between an APR and an interest rate, and why you have a loan estimate versus a closing disclosure. You know, people can get lost in how complex this can be. But if you're able to take technology and education and give it to them bite-sized, the appetizers, right? That I think it makes people understand and more comfortable, and also more comfortable to ask questions too.
Right. And I think even with, you know, to talk about your son, he grasped a lot of it, but I think too, once we started to break it down into small pieces,
absolutely,
it helped him a lot more. And then also we had videos on certain, like, pretty much the entire process. Yes. Like, whatever milestone there was a video for it. And so we were able to send that to him. And then even if he didn't get it, he was familiar. And then we could go granular and start to talk more about it. And so again, my way is not always the best way, but I even, you know, we are always searching to try to find the best way to get the information out to the client so that we can focus on the strategy
That's right.
More than the education of kind of what it is. We want them to come in and have a very good idea of what it is, so they can ask good questions. So they can put themselves in a position to win later. Well, to win right now, but to win later. So, and focus on the strategy. So, it was important that I asked you that question as you started to talk, because I'm like, it's more and more people are buying houses, and I read somewhere, I think I read this the other day, that we still need like about 4 million houses to hit the market in the U.S.
Yes.
to meet the demand.
Yes, and it's where's the land that these houses are going to be on? But it is, and we are experiencing. I know you're looking at, it's a shortage of inventory right now, and I think we're always going to have some sort of shortage of inventory. But you have to be prepared when you do find that home financially, when you do find that community, to do that. One of the things that I did, and not that we want to make this show all about my son, but before he was introduced to you, my church had a financial fitness class that talked about student loans and paying off student loans and the snowball effect and how you pay off debt to improve your credit, to be in a position to have a home and purchase a home, not just for your home or your family, but also your step up home too, or investment property. So it is making these conversations available in many areas of an individual's lives. So you can go to your church and get this information. You can log on to LinkedIn and see Shawn and I talking about it. If you have networking events where you're constantly in communication about wealth and education and networking, it's important. And it will move the needle, because someone will catch on to something you said, Shawn, or I said, and like you said, they'll be curious and want to know more information.
Yeah. So here we go. Last question, I think.
You think? Okay.
I think great. Like I said, we're just two friends just sitting around talking, and so compliance, right? In my experience, all the compliance people I've dealt with have all been fine. Like I get it. I understand what the mission is to protect the consumer, protect the company, and the consumer and the company, right?
Right.
And just to make sure that things are being done right. But I don't think, and no disrespect to anybody in compliance that I've ever worked with, but I've never heard anybody talk about generational wealth as a compliance person, or as an attorney, and you're sitting in your seat. So tell us about that. Like, I know you have a passion for it, but like, tell us about why you feel that it's important to have generational wealth.
Yeah, and it's personal for me. It just happens to be my full-time job as well. So it's important to have generational wealth, because as you are either having children or preparing for retirement, if you don't have children, having a better quality of life to pass down to someone, it's important to have these things like home ownership, investing in stocks, and all of these things for the next generation, so that for my family, like my dad, he worked and he had his own company. But one of the things he wanted to do is he wanted to make it a little bit easier for his kids to buy a home, for his kids to go to college. And so you pass that down, and you have a legacy really that you're building. And this is legacy building. Like, this is not, it shouldn't stop with you, Shawn. It shouldn't stop with me, but it should really be something that we're preparing for, not just our retirement, but something to leave when we leave this earth. And so as a compliance person, we have, of course, fair lending obligations, but as an organization, you want the reputation too, that anyone can come to NFM Lending and have a great experience as a consumer, but they can also have a great experience as an employee. So that's important to me. And just from a business standpoint, it makes sense, dollars and cents,
right,
to do it, because a lot of times if you aren't having that conversation about increasing your footprint, you're missing out on a pocket of consumers that you could be servicing.
right. No, that's a word right there. That was a gem. Yeah,
Thank
I love that. I was just thinking here, I was motivated, like, all right, I need to find another branch. And
Yes, you do.
we can, because like you mentioned, you can help more people. And
Absolutely.
obviously there's a financial gain and a reward for the company that you own, because you can also help your employees too as well get to where they need to be
That's
uh,
right.
in life. And then even more so much, this kind of brings it all full circle, and the impact and importance of the access to the
Yes.
fair lending, and
Yes.
the access to the equal part of it that we're talking about, because it enables you to be able to get that and build that generational wealth if everybody has the same type of access.
Yeah.
There are lots of people, as we know, that have started the race behind. There's a head start in
Yeah.
in many situations, and
Yeah.
so to try to bridge that gap and shorten that wealth gap,
Hmm.
it's going to take a lot more work to do so. So,
A
um,
lot of work, and we're thankful for like partnerships that we have with nonprofit organizations, as well as programs that are available for those who don't have that first down payment resource. So it's amazing to be able to be in this field, and it's an exciting time too. Like, we shouldn't negate the fact that the pandemic happened and we were dealing with a lot of social unrest, and that those two kind of merged together for us. And so now we're in a season where we have an opportunity to utilize our experience, the tools that we have as an organization, to really make some impact. So it's exciting, and Shawn, I'm sure you're excited too. Once we can find these houses, maybe we should go into home building and we can provide some of this inventory that we're missing.
yeah, I don't think anything's missing though. It's tough. I'm sure you hear it all the time. It's like folks are asking me how the industry's going. I'm like, it's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
historically low rates still, contrary to popular belief, the rates can
Yes.
pick up.
Yes.
It's still, still historically low rates. However, like on the purchase side, I've gotten more pre-approvals out there than I've ever had. Or, in my world, it's a pre-qualification because I'm a mortgage broker.
Hmm.
But we still verify everything, right?
Of course.
But I have so many people out there, but they've been at it for a few months,
Yeah.
just because they're unable to compete in certain situations, like with contingencies and just
Hmm.
with the amount. Like right now, you have to be, like we talked about earlier, preparation
Yeah.
super important. So that way you have a great strategy to go into these offers these days,
That's
because
right.
in certain price points, it's like it's an auction. It's
Yeah.
less of a, it's less of like a home purchase. It's more of it's an auction to try to win this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. And you can't get emotionally tied,
Yeah.
because, like, I bought my home 8 years ago, and it was a similar situation where I was bidding sight unseen,
Right.
because I just was like, this is where I want to live. I'll figure out the repairs if necessary once I get there. But if I wasn't prepared to escalate to have additional funds and resources to get to the home, I would have been sitting on the sidelines like a lot of people are now. And affordability, of course, is a challenge. And those are some of the things that we're starting to look at with our referral partners that are builders, and how do they make the homes more affordable to get individuals who would otherwise qualify into the home, but for the purchase price.
That's right. And that's the important piece, is don't get caught up in the hype, into the frenzy piece of it.
Yeah.
When it's your time, it's going to be your time. And, like I tell everyone, like, LaTasha, I 17 years in this industry, I never had to make your mortgage payment. So I'm not going to tell you what you should buy. I can tell you what
That's right.
you qualify for. And based on what you say your comfortability is, I can tell you what that looks like in regards to a price range. But I
Yeah.
would never dare tell you what I think you should buy, because I don't pay your bills,
Exactly.
So, that piece, I keep harping on the plan. It's just important to have a strategy, but
And to
yeah.
start the conversation even when you don't think you're ready. So
Mhm.
you mentioned a great point of pre-qualifying an individual. And even it's like I can have numerous conversations, and people will say, well, I can't afford a home right now, or I'm not ready to purchase. And I'll say, well, who have you talked to verify this, right? And they're like, oh, I talked to my girlfriend because my girlfriend knows this, or this person. Have you talked to someone in the mortgage industry? Have you talked to a realtor so that they can prepare you? Even if you're not ready now, you need to know the steps to get ready. So I love that you mentioned that you pre-qualify, because guess what? I'm sure for every person you pre-qualify, you probably have a few where you say, you're not ready yet, but here are the steps to get ready to purchase the home.
That's right. Right. We want to see people win massively.
Yeah.
Did I love Thursdays. I might change the name of this thing to I Love Thursdays. I get an opportunity to speak to people like you every Thursday, and I'm always in such a great mood on Thursdays. Like I just look forward to these days. I'm not, contrary to popular belief, I'm not all that comfortable like public speaking.
Me either.
I've gotten comfortable with this.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. And so no, thank you for your time today. Before we wrap up, a couple more things. Like, LaTasha, how do we connect with you or NFM? Like, how do we connect with you?
Well, they can connect with NFM, and we have several divisions. So we service 41 states again. So our main core, where I'm sitting in Lithicum, is nfmlending.com, Ready Set Mortgage. Our other divisions are Main Street Home Loans, Blueprint Home Loans, which is really primarily on the West Coast, and Fremont Mortgage. So we have an umbrella. So we got something for everybody, but you can start at nfmlending.com. And
Okay.
don't contact me because I'm not a licensed loan originator, so I can't talk terms and conditions.
Right. But speaking engagements, contact or information about the company, LaTasha will recruit you too. Like I remember back in the day, I remember you got connected to me through a mutual friend.
Yes.
And I was telling like yeah, I'll meet with her, but why is she recruiting me? Like, she's general counsel, like she's in compliance at the company, and she behind the scenes. Like, this is weird, but it was pretty cool because actually the company just as well as anybody there.
I'm telling you, like, I love my company. I love our culture. And if I see someone that I think is going to be a great fit for the organization, then that's my job too. Like, I want to be able to be a cheerleader, for the organization. So,
all right. So
you ignore me, but it's all good. We passed that.
Yeah. Well, we got connected though. We're good. We're good. So look, I'm not gonna let you off that easy. Last thing, and then we're gonna be out of here. So, LaTasha, you get one person, dead or alive, one question that you could ask. Who would it be, and what would you ask?
Okay.
You're having breakfast, coffee, lunch, dinner, email exchange, whatever it might be.
So, off the top of my head, I would say Anna Wintour, who is the director of Vogue and also Condé Nast. She is amazing. People think of her and they think of clothing and fashion and all the stuff that she's in charge of, but she is a businesswoman. And if you hear about how she leads her team, how she organizes herself, what things she's passionate about, amazing. And what I would ask her is, how do you stay relevant? Because she has been in her craft and at the top of her game for decades. And the mortgage industry, just like the fashion industry, is constantly evolving. You're constantly bringing new people in. You're leveraging technology. How do you stay relevant? So, Anna, if you're out there, just, DM me.
LaTasha wants to know how to stay relevant. No, that's awesome. And so, like, this was again a great conversation. I appreciate it. And so the moral of the story for us today and me is like, be that guy that's gonna be welcoming. That's not just gonna just make you find where to put your coat and to get your drink and to fix your own food when you come to my party. Be that person that's gonna make me feel at home, and just guide me through the whole process. And so, that's one of my big takeaway today. I haven't said it in a while, but there's three things that's super important. Build relationships.
Yes.
They build relationships before you need them. Tosh, we go back almost a decade, and
yes,
here we are. And then DNA is very important. And so the DNA piece is why you do what you do, who you would let down if you fail. And so both of us are fighting a mission, and to help people, to help the underserved communities, to help people get access. And so that's very important. And then lastly, something that's I think is ultra important is having a plan. Having a plan is most important. So we talked about this whole homeownership piece. If you're not there yet, like, get ready.
That's right.
Get ready. And so I hear a term in this community that I'm in: stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. That's part of how.
Yes, be on ready. Yes.
That's right. So I'll ask you to stay on with me after I close this down and talk to me for another minute or so. But thank you for your time today. Anybody, if there's anything that we can do to help you in any way, connections through this LinkedIn community, and just in general, it's just a shame to have these resources and these contacts and not to be able to connect the dots. If there's anything that I or we can do to help you, please don't hesitate to reach out. Stay healthy. You still got to stay safe as possible. And we'll see everybody next week. Thank you, LaTasha.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.